Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bruce and today we're going to be talking a little bit about I guess some basic um, advice for some of the newer plant hobbyists. I'm going to mainly focus about Hoyas because that's what I've been recently collecting. That's what I'm really passionate about at the moment, and so it's going to be more of a focus on Hoyas, but you can always use this for other genuses of plants. I tried to record this so many times yesterday before I went for work, and I guess I deleted it by accident. And so this video is going to be uploaded a little bit later than I wanted to. So this will be uploaded Wednesday, so hopefully you guys are here to see that. I mean, obviously you are, since you guys are here watching me be awkward. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So tip number one would be, when starting off with Hoyas, I would say go to big box store, try to find a Hoya Carnosa, Crimson Princess, Crimson Queen, Crinkle 8, Hindu Rope Variegata, Hoya Curtisii. By starting off with a big box store Hoya, they are usually a lot cheaper for the amount of plants that you get, and so usually you'll get like a 6 or 8 inch pot for anywhere between like $20 to like $40, and those Hoyas are usually a lot easier to take care of. There's a lot more Hoyas in that box, so you really don't have to worry too much about what'll happen if you kill it, because you have multiple plants to try from. And a lot of the time, the Hoyas are decently long, and so what I mean by that is that there's multiple nodes per vine, and so if you really need to, for whatever reason, you're able to snip them off and propagate, which means that you actually start learning how to propagate a lot faster and a lot sooner, because you're able to propagate from such a big plant and from such a big pot that you really don't have to worry too much about, oh my gosh, what if I propagate and what if the propagation dies, because you still have that big pot to keep on taking cuttings from. So number two would be research. Just do your research. It's going to be a constant recurring theme throughout this video, because research is just so important, and I might emphasize different parts of research in different areas I go into, but the main thing that I wanted to talk a little bit more about with this one is research the plant that you want. For instance, let's say that you finally found the Hoyas that you really wanted, or a certain characteristic that you're really going for, whether they're more succulent type of leaves, or they're more heart-shaped leaves, or they're more veiny leaves, or they're more woodier in the stems. Maybe they're more smaller leaves. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's something that you really like in a Hoya and you really want to go for it, because I mean there's over hundreds of species of Hoyas, and so collecting that many Hoyas in such a small space, I mean, who knows, maybe you're able to do it, maybe you're not, but being able to focus on just one specific characteristic means that you have to do your research. You have to figure out how to care for them. You have to figure out a common care trait that you could do for these Hoyas. For instance, between like watering, lighting, and soil, if you want to do soil, or if you want to just switch over to Lecker ponds. Again, you just have to do that research and be really well prepared when going into a very specific characteristic of Hoyas. I mean, like, even if you don't go for like a very specific kind of characteristic, maybe you're kind of like me, where you're just all like, if they're big, if they're small, if they got curly leaves, if they got wonky leaves, if their leaves are super succulenty but there's something weird with it, or like if they're sticks, if they're, I don't know, whatever floats your boat. You just have to make sure that you do your research and make sure that you're able to give the Hoya the best care that you're able to give it. So number three comes down to where you want to buy your plants. And so by this one, I mean specifically where you want to buy your plants. As in, do you want to buy it from Facebook? Do you want to buy it from a very specific nursery, like a local nursery? Do you want to support like those local businesses? Do you want to support like small businesses online? Is there any particular way that you want to buy Hoyas? And the reason why I say that is because I know that there's a lot of people here in Colorado who specifically only want to support the local businesses. And by all means, go for it. But you have to make sure that you're able to find these local businesses in the first place. There's also LGBT communities or LGBT businesses. I know Arium Botanicals is LGBT friendly. I think the owner's actually gay, or at least LGBT anyways. There's also, oh gosh, who is it? Name escapes my mind. But anyways, Arium Botanicals, I know that they sell anywhere between like philodendrons, aroids, Hoyas, cactuses, and they're based out in, I think, Seattle, Washington? Question mark? But I know that they do a lot of local pickups and everything as well. And so they do online sales, they do pickups, and so it just really all depends on who you want to buy from, how you want to buy it, if you want to ship or not, if you just want to do local, if you want to buy from overseas or not, if you're wanting to import, make sure that you understand the importing rules and everything that goes along with that one. And so like make sure that you really do research who you buy from, where you buy from, and if you want to buy from them. Because I mean, if you give your money to these people, you're essentially supporting them. So make sure that you're okay with that, and make sure that it doesn't go against with what you believe in to a certain extent. So number 4 would kind of be playing off of that a little bit. It's kind of more about pricing, and so it all depends on how much you're willing to spend for a plant. For instance, the other day there was a Hoya that was priced at $200. And personally for me, that's a little too much for like a 2-node 4-leaf Hoya that is kind of already circulating the market. And from what I heard is they are a fairly fast-growing Hoya and they root pretty easily. And so for me personally, I wouldn't spend that $200, but it all depends on what you're okay with and what you are willing to spend. Because what I might not be willing to spend, you might. And so it just really all depends on what you're willing to spend and what you are okay with spending. If you're in the market for just buying and reselling, or if you're actually in the market to grow your collection. So again, just really all depends on what you're willing to hash out. If you're not wanting to spend like that $200 for that one Hoya, definitely start making some friends. Do not be, what's the word that I'm looking for? Hungry for a good price, because it's going to be pretty obvious. Do not use your plant friends just to upgrade your collection, or for you to buy at a small price and then resell at a super high price, like maybe not even a month later. That's really no better than like going to big box store and then price gouging plants up. Like, you're really going to lose those connections. And so if you're going to be buying from private sellers, especially like let's say off of Facebook, make sure that you're going at it with the right intentions and not trying to price gouge or like lowball anybody, because that's really not cool. But yeah, being able to make friends. For instance, actually, I got an example for you guys. I've been kind of looking for a Hoya elliptica for quite a while, and the opportunity presented itself because I was able to talk and kind of have a good time talking with somebody, and they offered me a Hoya elliptica. And so plants come in many different ways. Plants present themselves in many different ways, different opportunities. And so do not sell yourself short. Do not be antisocial with the plant community. The plant community has such amazing people in it. I think actually just today, one of my sellers was actually telling me that she was trying to buy a certain Hoya for me so that way she could sell me hers, because she knows that I was looking for a particular Hoya, and because I've had previous relationships with this particular seller. Will I tell you these sellers' names in these types of videos? No. But would I do unboxing videos for you guys? Of course. Would I tell you guys the price? Most likely. And so, do not expect those prices to be the same with you also. Like, there's a certain courtesy that's there. And so don't always be expecting it. It's kind of like don't always be expecting cuttings from other sellers in these videos, because they do not explicitly say that they're going to be giving you a cutting, and so do not expect a free cutting. And I guess that kind of alludes to number 5 is do not be so entitled to plants. You are not entitled to a plant. If you're buying from a private seller, you are not entitled to that plant. That person has the right to refuse you. Yes, it sucks sometimes. I actually had a seller who ended up ghosting me. We were talking for quite a while, and she just ended up ghosting me and just didn't sell to me. And so, again, sellers do have that right to refuse service to anybody. It's just like with any business. Do not be entitled to those plants. Yes, you might have claimed it, but if whatever reason the seller does not feel comfortable selling it to you for any reason, you have to just accept it. As much as that might not sound that great to you, you just, maybe it was the way that you presented yourself. Maybe it was the way that you might be planning on caring for this plant. Like recently, because there's been such a surge in plants and collecting house plants, the dynamics in the plant community has been changing. And so somebody had actually made a post in one of the groups saying that you have to make sure that you do your research for a certain plant and not just buying it just for the rarity of the plant. And I actually really agree with that post, because if you don't know how to care for it, and if you're just buying it and you don't know what you're doing, and you're essentially killing the plant, I mean, they could have sold it to somebody else that would have gotten so much joy out of it, because it's been on the wish list for so long. And so really don't take the opportunity away from them. Make sure that you're doing your research. Make sure that you're not buying the plant just because it's rare. Do not feel entitled that you have to have that plant for whatever reason. That's all I gotta say about that. Just don't be entitled. Yeah. But yeah, always do your research. Make sure that you know who you're buying from, how much the prices are going, what the market prices are going for. Make sure that it's something that you're really okay with buying. Make sure that the Hoyas are something that you really want, or the plant that you really want, especially if you're limited on space. For instance, me personally, I would not buy a Hoya undulata, because as much as I love how the plant looks with the blooms and everything, I just don't have the right growing environment for it. So make sure that you do your research. Make sure that you're looking into everything that you can, especially if you're new. If you're more on the experienced end, then you could kind of jump into it. Because, well, you can't really learn without the hands-on experience. But again, this also plays into how much you're willing to spend. So, again, I'll leave it off with that before I kind of start rambling. And until the next one, I'll see you guys. Peace!